Hey, what's the crack? This is Oliver Keane, Motion Design, and today I'm going to show you how to render inside of After Effects. And I'm going to show you how to use Medium Encoder as well. Medium Encoder is a really important tool to know while using After Effects. It's really good. So let's jump into it. What we need to do, and I need to open up basically a scene inside of After Effects so we can render, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the scene, that like matte scene that I was using. So I'm going to open up that, okay? And one thing to note, guys, as well in this tutorial, After Effects just been updated recently. I'm on After Effects 2021 right now, and if you are not on a newer version, I would recommend updating, because this is going to link to Medium Encoder in this session. I've Medium Encoder 2021 downloaded and After Effects 2021 downloaded, and they need to link together, so that's a really important thing to know. You can open whatever you want, basically. This is just for me to show you a bit of rendering, and I'm going to open it up in After Effects 2021. You can see I have a lot of different versions of After Effects because I'm using it for a very long time. I even have 2015 on here. That's how long I've been using it. I'm gonna open 2021. Here you go. And what we're gonna do is start rendering this, okay? So I'm just gonna play my animation really quickly so we can remember what it was. So there you go. So we're gonna go to my composition. So we have track 1 here, and so come up to track 1 and click on it. So this is my main composition, and I'm gonna start rendering this straight off the back. So if you come up here to composition, add to render queue, see here, and then you get your render queue down here. Sometimes your render queue can pop up in different areas, you know, like mine is next to my timeline here. Sometimes I drag this over at the top up here, so it like is in, you know, next to, you know, my stuff, see? So then I have my composition and my render queue. It depends really what you want. Sometimes I like doing both, like different ones. So I'm just gonna keep it here for now. And see here, I'm just gonna make it bigger so we can see. And we have track 1, so that's our composition, and we're going to render out this animation, okay? What you need to do is leave best settings alone, and we will need to work in lossless right here, see? So if you click on that, and you see you get this little panel right here. And in this panel right now, it says format, it's AVI, so that's the format that it would end up being. So like, you know, you see AVI sometimes or whatever. I don't really work in AVI that much, so I don't really want to use that, but it depends really on your client, okay? So ask your client if you're animating stuff or whatever, the spec sheet or whatever they have, ask them what they want. Do you want a movie file, do you want an MP4 or whatever, okay? But one thing to know as well is when I click this down, okay, there's no option for MP4 inside of After Effects, and that's where Medium Encoder comes in. I'm going to show you that in the next few steps. Right now I'm going to output some QuickTimes, okay, because this is the one I mainly use and a lot of people use, is QuickTime. So what we want to do is a nice raw file straight out of After Effects. So to do that, we need a QuickTime animation. So QuickTime animations are huge, okay, they are really big. This is what I've been taught to use, honestly. QuickTime animation is a nice raw file straight out of After Effects because it maintains a lot of information, you know. So a QuickTime animation are like the largest file really you're going to get out of After Effects, so be wary of that. It's going to be a big file. It's probably not going to be big for this file because there's not much going on, but if you have a lot of footage and stuff, a QuickTime animation is going to shoot out like a lot of information, a lot of megabytes, gigabytes and stuff like that. So, you know, just be wary of using QuickTime animation. But for now, we're doing a lot of simple stuff because we're doing the basics. Yeah, we're going to do this really quickly. So we're going to go QuickTime, we're going to go to format options, we're going to go animation, okay, and go okay, and then we're going to turn off the sound because we don't have any sound. A lot of times it's set to auto, so you don't have to worry. So if we go off and then if you press okay, what happens there, it goes custom QuickTime, and then it goes track 1. If you click on track right here, render it wherever you want, so pick somewhere like your desktop or so on. I have mine in my special folder, this tutorial series, and see it's called track 1, okay? I'm going to call this track 1 QuickTime. So there you go, QuickTime animation. There you go. See over here, it has a little render button, and you can also queue in AME. See there, that's a Medium Encoder. I'm going to show you that in a sec, don't worry about that for a second. And if you press render right now, what that's going to do, render out the file for you. So that's after rendering out your file. So if you go to where you saved it, so I pop in here, there's mine here. See right now, if you click on it, I'm on a PC, so it might be different for people on Macs. Mine right now is 577 megabytes, almost 6 megabytes basically. So if you come here and if you right click on this and open it with QuickTime, or you can press the spacebar if you're on a Mac, and if you go view and go loop and press play, I'll loop it for you inside QuickTime. See? So there's your animation, but that's actually quite big file for something straight out of After Effects. But I'm going to show you other render settings as well. So if we come back here to my track, okay, and I'm going to go again up here to composition. So go to add to render queue. See your old renders up here. Click on lossless again, and then change the format to QuickTime. And then pick whatever you want really, you know. I'd recommend staying in the Apple Prores realm than any of these guys, as These are the most used ones really, and it depends, like I said, on your client. Ask your client what they want and they'll tell you exactly what render settings they need. Most clients are really sensitive about this, so do ask them for sure, okay? Just keep in mind. So Apple ProRes 422 is one of the other ones I use a lot. So if you go Apple ProRes 22 and go okay, and we turn off this audio because we don't need it. So if we press OK, and I'm going to render this to the same location, but I'm going to call this QT ProRes. There you go, and press enter, and then press render. There you go. So that's after rendering it. Now again, go to your folder where you rendered it. There you go. We have both of them right there. The Quicktime Animation is a tiny bit bigger than ProRes. Be wary of that for sure. Especially if you have footage, like I said, it can be a beast, honestly. So really keep that in mind, you know. But for a lot of people, social stuff and so on, you're definitely not outputting things as movies because it's way too big. Honestly, it's way too big. And especially like these are only, they're small for now because these are small. This is only 2-second animation with limited colors, all built inside of After Effects. But for outputting like something that has a lot of footage and so on, like before my older tutorials with flowers bloom and all that kind of stuff, if you output that as a QuickTime animation, you're going to get a huge file, like a gigabyte or something, and you don't need that, you know. So I'm going to show you guys how to render inside Medium Encoder. And Medium Encoder is basically another app by Adobe. It does exactly what it says in the tin. It encodes your video for you. I'm going to show you how to make an MP4 basically. So if we click on my composition again and go composition here, add to Adobe Medium Encoder Q. So if you click that, Medium Encoder sometimes takes a long time to pair and open and so on, so be wary of that. Sometimes it might take it longer than it should. Mine opened quite quickly, very surprising because it never does. So Medium Encoder is open now. It might take a while for Medium Encoder to open, that's just a note. Another note to make sure is your Medium Encoder and your After Effects are matching years and versions. So my After Effects up here you can see is 2021 and my Medium Encoder is 2021. If you have say After Effects 2020 and then you have Medium Encoder 2021, they won't match. So what happens straight away is when you send this to Medium Encoder, you get your AE, like After Effects symbol, like your little one down here, and then basically straight away what happens, it loads it up as a H.264. And basically a H.264, just to keep in mind for everybody, H.264 is an MP4 file, okay? So that outputs an MP4 container file, and that's great because it's going to be nice and small, you know. So a lot of times if you're doing stuff for social media or anything like that, and even this scene that I have right here, this is really small. This can be an MP4 because it's tiny, you know, like you don't have to worry about it. So if I open up Medium Encoder again, we have the name track 1 because that's our composition. It's going to render a composition. And then if we come here and click on the word H.264, it might take a tiny bit to open because it's actually a dynamic link between After Effects and Medium Encoder. I know this all sounds complicated, and don't worry, honestly. Like, I was freaked out when I first tried to do all this stuff, so don't worry. It takes a bit of time to get used to, but you'll be fine, honestly. And you can always hit me up and ask me questions. So yeah, you see there now opens up our composition inside of Medium Encoder, our export settings. And then like, all you need to do is go your format here, go H.264 like we said, and then you can do a preset if you want. See, there's like, I'm going to blank out these presets at the top because I don't want you guys to see them because I have clients, a lot of clients that I can't show you. So yeah, you see here it says match source. That's a good thing to keep it as, to be honest. But there's also presets down here if you need something for YouTube or something like that. Just click which one works best for you. But like, honestly, just match source is good for now. Like, there's no audio on it, so you don't need audio. So if you click here, output name, find where you want to save it, and then if you press save, where my MOVs would be, and yeah, just come down here and you can basically just leave the sentence as they are because they're going to output an MP4. But you can see already here it says 2 megabytes this is going to output, and if you want to have the maximum render quality, just click that one if you want. I normally always do this because it adds a little bit extra to my renders and quality wise. So there you go. So this is all set up to render. Okay, it's really easy. Now press OK on that, and then see the little play button, press that, clickety click, done. So easy that was, right and easy. So if you go back to where it was saved, you now have your video. But you can see already, like, this is 49, almost 50 KB compared to, you know, megabytes. It's tiny. And okay, and we're going to open this up. So you right click it and go open with QuickTime. Might take a tiny bit to load, but there you go. You press play, I'll have it there. This is the smallest animation, you know, you can get, you know, like MP4s are great for like social media, online and stuff like that, but that's how you output an MP4. So I just wanted to show you 3 different ways of doing it, but it depends honestly on your client of like what render setting they want, and it's a good thing to know just using outputting stuff from Medium Encoder and outputting stuff straight from After Effects. Congratulations, you finished all the basic projects. Now you can move on to the beginner projects, because now you know all the little basic tools and techniques inside of After Effects to move on to these projects. And guys, you're gonna have an amazing time, and I cannot wait wait to show you the beginner projects, because it's going to really up your level in skill, because you learned all the little basic projects and little basic skills, and now you can use all of that, all those ingredients to make this massive cake at the end. And I cannot wait to show you guys. And guys, like I said, if you ever have any issues or problems, comment underneath my videos, and honestly I'll get back to you right away. So guys, let's jump into the beginner projects and let's do this together, and we're gonna have loads of fun.